In the last video, we talked about economic fluctuations in the economy. And these economic fluctuations are often given a name, and the name for economic fluctuations is called the business cycle or business cycles. As the term suggests, the economic fluctuations typically correspond to changes in business conditions. So when we think about the real GDP, right, we had seen this type of a chart before where real GDP is mostly rising over time, but it does fluctuate from time to time when we are in a bad period, which is these gray lines over here, which are recessions or depressions. Then the real GDP will drop below its long run trend, and then it will revive itself and continue to grow in those white regions that are expansions. Now, if we look at this blue line, but we actually compute the growth rate of the blue line, right? So here we have real GDP that's measured in billions of dollars. So this is telling us that in 2019 quarter four, the real GDP was $19 trillion, right? If we take the growth rate of this entire series, this is what the graph looks like. And this tells us that economic fluctuations are pretty typical of in any economy, and they are highly irregular and unpredictable. So if you notice, all of these gray shaded regions are bad times for the economy or economic recessions. And we see that every time we are in that gray zone, we are below this black line, which this black line is saying that this is when growth rate is zero in the economy, right? So if you're below zero, that's a negative growth rate. So anytime we are below the black line for more than 2 quarters, the economists would be declaring a recession. Okay, so notice over here, and right now we're at. So this is not very recent, but this is sort of the revised data for 2019. So it shows you that for 2019 quarter four, the growth rate of real GDP was 2.3%. So we're in the positive. That means there was no recession in quarter four 2019, right? So we see that there are recessions that are occurring in the US economy, but they're not at fixed intervals, like this recession right here. And then we had in the 1960s, and then we had one in the 1970s. Then we had another one very soon, okay? Then we didn't have anything for a long time. Then we had one very quickly, okay? And in recent years, we see that the frequency of recessions have actually fallen. So we are seeing that over the last 20 years, we've only had 2 recessions. One was in 2001, and the other one was in 2007, which was a bit deeper.